When you put your limited, hard-earned free time into a strength training routine and you don't really see any serious change, it can be annoying as hell. But don't worry, since this is why today we'll be talking about the number one reason why this happens to you, something we quickly introduced in our recent video, 5 old school secrets to training less and building more muscle, where we talked about the importance of training hard. Still, since we lightly touched upon that, today we'll be diving a lot deeper. And not only will we be explaining what exactly training hard is, since most people understand this wrong, but I'll be also sharing with you 3 simple strategies to put all this theory into practice so you can finally start making some serious gains. Check it out. Hey guys, before we dive into today's video, if you want to build a rugged, strong and lean calisthenics physique with simply a pair of gymnastic rings and adjustable dumbbells, even if you're a complete beginner who can't do a single pull-up or has to lose some weight, then make sure you grab our brand new free guide, link in the top comment below. Now, for starters, how can you tell if you are indeed making this mistake? Well, there's actually an easy way to know, where if you're consistently getting at least 3 hours of training per week and you are not getting noticeably stronger and more muscular from month to month, then you are indeed not training hard enough. Now, before you think that this is not you, or you start getting all defensive and you click on the next clickbait thumbnail that will give you tips and hacks that never really pan out in the long run, try to hang in there a little bit more, at least until we first of all establish what training hard really means. For starters, training hard is not doing a lot of sets or doing a lot of exercises. It doesn't even mean doing a lot of reps. And lastly, it's also not about how lengthy your training sessions are. As a matter of fact, that can actually mean quite the opposite, since if you're training hard enough, then you should be running out of steam somewhere between 40 and 50 minutes. So what is training hard then? Well, if I had to summarize it quickly, I would say that training hard is pushing a few mostly compound exercises to the absolute limit for 2 to 3 sets, to the point that if someone had a gun against your head, you wouldn't be able to get a single extra rep. And next, attempting with all your might to beat this performance the next time you train. Now, all this has to be done with good form, which is why in our coaching method, other than the law of intensity and the law of constant improvement, which I'll be explaining more into depth next, the second law that Coach John introduced is the law of perfect form, where again, once you've picked the proper exercises and variations for your training level, you have to make sure that your technique is as close as possible to perfect, since this way you can keep making gains without getting injured. By the way, if you would like to work with us one-on-one to put together a proper diet and workout plan to build muscle, lose fat, gain quality weight, whatever your goal might be, and overall to improve your life quality, then you can find an application below, fill it in, and book a free consultation call with my beautiful face. We can talk about your goals, figure out exactly how to get you there, and see if we're a good fit. Once again, application in the top pinned comment below. A very important thing to remember as we start putting all this into practice is that training hard is a skill. This means that if you've never considered how can one get better at this training hard thing that I've been busting your balls about, it makes sense for you to not be good at it. In other words, training hard is not about being wired differently from birth or whatever stereotype you might have in your head, such as the aggressive buff dude at the calisthenics park or the gym. Sure, you will have to learn how to train more aggressively, but once you get good at it, I bet you that you'll actually become a lot more peaceful as a person, and you'll be even able to manage life's stress a lot more efficiently during the rest of your day. For starters, every time that your reps start to slow down and you think you've reached what you consider to be your limit, see if you can get at least one more rep on top of that. Especially as a beginner or even intermediate, never think you are done know you are done by always testing if there's one more gun to the head rep in the tank. So it is very important to understand that ending your set the moment your reps just start to slow down is basically stopping the moment your body's muscle building switch was just about to be turned on. This is why one of the 4 most important laws in our coaching method, what we call no BS hybrid calisthenics, is the law of intensity, since by far the biggest problem we see with new trainees who join our one-on-one online coaching program is that they always seem to abandon their sets way too prematurely. Now, if you're already doing way too many reps, then you should be making the exercise more challenging by either adding a bit more weight or by switching to a more advanced variation, but that is a topic for a future video. Whatever the case, remember that these all have to be done with proper form, but also keep in mind that you always want an amount of effort where your nervous system is basically grabbing your muscles by the throat, shaking them up and down and right and left until they give up that last rep. You want to be huffing and puffing and making, in my case, weird noises if you're training at home to the point that your wife in the next room is considering to call an exorcist. You want to set aside your intellectual self and tap into your inner caveman. The way I think of it is if mothers can access that part of their brain where they can lift a car to save their babies, then you can always tap into your primal part to get at least one more rep. So if you have stress in your life, then you can use it when you train. If you have suppressed road rage because of an asshole that put your family in danger a day ago by driving like an idiot, you can use that. If you owe money to your blood-sucking bank or government, you can use that. If you're pissed with your boss, you can definitely use that. This is the time to get it all out of your system and put it into the dip and pull-up bars. Once again, I definitely believe that we would all be a lot more peaceful as human beings if we trained hard. Law number 4 of our no BS hypertrophy calisthenics method states that every time you train, you must try to beat your previous performances. To be able to do this, you should first of all know what exactly your previous performances are, which means that you need to start logging your workouts. Truth is that other than getting a set of gymnastic rings and a pull-up bar, maybe also a set of adjustable dumbbells, nothing after that will help you build muscle more than a dirt cheap workout notebook and a big pen. Now, I know you've also got apps for that nowadays, and you can call me old school, but I am still a big believer in pen and paper. Keeping it analog while training reduces, first of all, digital distractions, and I'm pretty sure that you don't need more time on your phone anyway. It keeps you focused. Plus, there's something about handwriting your workout down that just adds a more personal and ritualistic touch to the whole process. After that, you can always transfer everything to a digital format if you want to keep a digital backup. This is also what we recommend with our trainees, so we can review their performances. So to make a long story short, there's simply no way around this. If you want to keep making consistent progress over time, you need a way to track your performances and, compete against them. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner or more advanced trainee, your mind will always be a master of manipulation when it comes to taking you down the path of least resistance. And on the other hand, numbers simply never lie. In other words, if you're not tracking, you're guessing, and if you're guessing, you're not building muscle. Honestly, if I had to coach you and you didn't practice this one simple habit, I would rather have you join a Zumba class and sell your rings on eBay. Growing up as an athlete in my hometown's rowing team, one thing I can vividly remember is our coaches pushing us past our limits. Typical scenarios I can recall are things such as grinding through a brutal 2-kilometer rowing trial. Those who have rowed in the past know what I'm talking about. Other scenarios were struggling basically through strength training, thinking that in both scenarios we were giving it our all until our coaches would suddenly start yelling at us like madmen, and we would magically find an extra gear on water or squeeze in an extra rep or 5 in the gym. Even if our legs and arms were already screaming while our lungs were already on fire. As torturous as this all felt back then, I'm grateful for these experiences nowadays, since it's how I built the tenacity and gut-busting perseverance that I can rely on in my own training, while it also helps me be a better coach to others. The reason I'm sharing this story with you today is to help you understand that even if you practice everything that we covered so far, having someone more experienced in your corner can always make that extra difference. You know, having that external push, that external eye can help you unlock potential that you never even thought you had. So that was all for today. And now next time, keep on training.